What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. As of recording this video, I believe Seaside Bellona is coming live in an hour and a half. So in this video, I want to cover a few things. I'm going to go over some basic bullet points, some rule of thumbs for summoning her, and then near the end of the video, let's go ahead and cover different build guides. I have things like early game PvP builds, Wyvern builds, as well as end game PvP builds and different types as well for different sets and things like that. Okay, so stay tuned. The big thing though is the summoning portion. Let me know, guys, in the comments below if you get lucky, unlucky. But make sure you try and follow these tips, especially my free-to-plays. So yeah, an hour and a half like we talked about. As we can see here, guys, 1 hour. Good luck, and let's move on with the video. Alright, guys, let's go ahead and cover Seaside Bellona summoning tips and tricks, because I've learned a lot along the way. I've been through 2 different Seaside Bellona banners, and I got a lot to share with y'all. So I'm going to write some rules on the screen that I want you to follow. And of course, just imagine Seaside Bellona's pretty faces here, and it says Reingars drink right here. Okay, so rule number 1. Multiple Seaside Bellonas are nice, but not required. They're more of a luxury, a quality of life thing. The reason people go for multiples is you can use one for PvP, one for PvE. I don't personally bother. If you do want to, just understand you may have to spend a lot of extra bookmarks. And I think free-to-play players, don't worry about multiple Seaside Bellonas, okay? Number 2, there is no pity for Reingars drink through summoning with bookmarks. This is very important. I've been through a horror story. I know a lot of other people have. Let me go ahead and put it into numbers for you so you can understand how bad it is. But basically, guys, when an artifact pops, as you can see here, there's a 1.75% drop rate on 5-star artifacts, and only a 1.05% once that drop rate even hits, once that spark and the character on the bottom left pops up, only a 1.05% chance for Reingars drink. Remember, Reingars drink instead of Holy Sacrifice, it's the same exact thing, can pop. That means 0.7% chance for any of these other random artifacts will appear, and if you get really unlucky, you'll just end up getting a lot of these other random artifacts and never the one that you need, the Reingars drink that's with the character, or you just never get artifact drops, period. So there's a very, guys, it's honestly a very high chance that you either get screwed over by getting random artifacts, or you don't get artifact drops, period, on the way to pity, multiple pities. Okay, so that's why I'm going to cover in here in a little bit. I'll show you all the powder shop here, but that's why I think you should just grab Reingars drink if you weren't lucky enough to get the artifact early. Just get it through the powder shop, because there's a lot of bad horror stories. I had to spend 30,000 sky stones, 1,200 bookmarks to get a single copy. Okay, some people have been through worse. Now, rule number 3, everybody grab one Seaside Bellona. If you happen to get her early, get out, not cut your losses, but take advantage of your early win and just get out, save the rest of your bookmarks, because Summer Iceria, Holiday Euphine, and then all the collaboration units are still around the corner. You got to save your bookmarks for them, I think. Everybody should grab one Seaside Bellona, though, even if you go to pity, and just grab one Reingars drink from the powder shop if you weren't lucky enough to grab one along the way to pity, etc. Okay? Now, number 4, if you plan to whale for multiple Seaside Bellonas or multiple drinks, you could. That's up to you, and let me cover multiple drinks. Guys, drinks, I think, for the most part, for players, if you were free to play and you happen to get multiples, you're going to probably want to focus on getting 1 to plus 30 first, okay? If you're whaling, I'll talk about that in a second, but the reason why is because Reingars drink has a 75% chance of plus 15 to proc and do damage at all. There's a 25% chance for it to misfire and do nothing. So you really want to get that to 100% as much as possible, because she does so many counters. That's really her main gimmick. So get that Reingars drink to plus 30 either through bottles, or if you were lucky enough to pick up multiple copies, okay? Now, if you're whaling, there's a reason to keep 2 separate. I know I might get asked that. If you were happen to get multiple Reingars drinks, you could keep some separate for units like Briarwitch Iceria, Yuna, and Faithless Litica. So area of effect rangers, AoE rangers that do a lot of damage, can make great use of the on proc effect. Okay, now last, let me go ahead and show the powder shop. Guys, you can only pick up 1 Reingars drink, unfortunately, via powder. As you can see here, I already bought the 1 limited Seeker Scythe that came with the Ravi, and if I were to buy Holy Sack, it would also be out of order, or out of shop. But yeah, Reingars drink is going to be here live in less than 2 hours, so pick up 1 here, and the rest, if you don't get more than 1 copy, just bottle it up to plus 30 when you can. All right, this bottle of knowledge comes back every shop rotation. All right, guys, let's go ahead and cover some different gearing and build options. Let's go ahead and talk about first PvE. Let's just cover a basic PvE Wyvern build. Now, I'll go ahead and show a very fast rage set. It's currently on my Biken, I think, or ungeared, because I think we swap stuff out. But it doesn't really matter for PvE, guys. Just make sure you hit the 65% threshold on your effectiveness. You don't need rage, but we'll go ahead and just cover the PvE basics first. Health and defense almost don't matter, because you're going to be level 60. Most likely it'll be other units that have potential dying on the fodder wave. Seaside Bellona, for the most part, will not die in the trash wave, so don't worry about health and defense if we're talking strictly Wyvern hunts PvE in general. Speed will be dependent on if you have Idol's Cheer or General Purgus. If you don't have any type of CR push, you'll want to be around anywhere from 150, 160, 170, 180 plus. Just make sure your defense breaker is the fastest unit on the team. That way he sets up the defense break, Terranor Guard of Fury sets up the defense break, and then your Seaside Bellona plus Alexa or Sigret have that defense break advantage. So anywhere above 150, you don't want them mega slow, otherwise they'll just get lapped too much. But the nice thing with Seaside Bellona, even if you, let's say you don't have enough speed to go around, and she is only like 140, 150, she'll still provide great value because the Wyvern hits so many times, she'll counter a lot. Every other Wyvern turn, she'll be countering with the potential to defense break. Other than that, guys, so 65 effectiveness, make sure you're around like 150 plus speed. And then health, defense don't matter too much. Go as much attack and crit damage as possible. Remember my tip? If you watch my last hunt video, if you can, favor crit damage because you want to be on Joker if this is not a one-shot build. Now, if you are doing the one-shot build, guys, go ahead and look up a guide. I know Jatai has a great one out there. He's a good friend of mine. But he also recommends having drink. So if you were thinking of, even if you're thinking of just using a PvE Seaside Bellona, make sure, guys, you buy that 240 powder. That's why I spent so long talking about the summoning tips, okay? Make sure you pick one of these up, period. It's very, very good for both PvP and apparently PvE as well. So, PvE recap, 65 effectiveness, as much attack and crit damage as possible. Speed will be dependent if you have a CR pusher or not, but if you don't, go for 150 plus. Other than that, guys, it's very, very flexible. She'll do great almost no matter what. Just really give her 65 effectiveness to land those defense breaks. Okay, let's move on to early game builds, and I actually had my Twitch viewers send in some of their screenshots of, you know, more beginner, mid-game-ish Seaside Bellonas, and here's one that can be used, or just an example stat line. Don't copy these stats per se, but I'm just showing y'all that a lot of people have success in early PvP that also use for Wyvern. Let me go ahead and start with a build from Siltom that was, he said he uses this right now for both Wyvern and early PvP. Now, let's go ahead and look at the stats here, guys. He does have some free gear. There are reforges on 2. But the stats are very achievable by most y'all. Let me cover what we're looking at here. Imagine this is drink instead, or if we're in Wyvern, Daydream Joker. I can't remember why he said he was using this. Maybe he needed to keep his tank alive for the Bloodstone. It's an okay artifact, but you really want to prefer Reingars drink instead. But if you look at the stat line, right, it's got attack, crit damage, and don't worry, guys, Seaside Bellona is actually one where 85 crit chance plus is good. One, because that's all you need for Wyvern, and 2, in PvP, a lot of times you're just throwing out so many attacks, and none of the attacks hit super hard besides like the initial S3, that if you want to prefer, or if, let's say you just can't roll a lot of crit, just getting 85 plus is really good because you're still critting fire units 100%, and then of course everything else will eventually get crit with 85. It's still pretty good. Crit damage, we got a decent chunk here and a lot of attack, and then we got a little bit of defense and health with a lot of speed. Now, this is just an example build, guys, that can be used for both Wyvern and PvP early. But typically, as you'll see in some of the other builds I'm going to show, we want to start increasing the defense and health a lot more, right? When we start venturing into higher ranked PvP. Because the main issue is people will want to focus her down. Because if your Seaside Bellona doesn't die, guys, she will win you the match most of the time. She's just going to chuck out so many skill 2 counters that have a chance to defense break and are also proccing the Reingars drink, doing just so much AoE damage over time. If you don't deal with it early, she takes over the match, which is why people focus her and why you need to build more defense and health. But in the beginning, guys, if you just want to focus on both PvP, PvE at the same time, you may not be able to get this many stats even, but just go ahead and go for attack, crit chance, crit damage, effectiveness, like I mentioned for the previous part, and then start working on some defense and health too, okay? Speed, not as important, unless you're speed tuning to get it early skill 3. Now, let's go ahead and cover this other build here. This has pieces of attack set, chests from the Hell Raid, 70, I think these are the free boots, and only 2 pieces of reforged gear. So another early accessible build, guys. And this is one I want to see a lot of y'all transition to from the last one to this. This is still, I would consider, an early game build. So don't worry if you're like, Car, I can't even achieve those stats yet. It's okay. You will be able to soon. Look how much free gear he's using. Event piece, Hell Raid, free. This is also given out for free. And then we have the arena necklace, which you can all get. He only supplements 2 pieces of gear. He has Reingars drink, he has a lot of attack, but the bulk, look at the health and defense. It's much higher on this build. Doesn't worry about defense, and he has a decent amount of crit chance, or a good amount of crit chance, and a decent amount of crit damage. Effectiveness, though, is dropped, so we most likely can assume this is not being used as much for Wyvern, because if we did want to use Wyvern, we want to keep 65 effectiveness, but otherwise, this is a great, great early game and accessible PvP build. You don't need attack set either, which I'm going to show you on my personal build. All right, guys, let's talk about a few different endgame builds for Seaside Bellona. Let's start with mine here. As you can see, I actually have three different 2-piece sets, just kind of showing her build versatility. She can run on a lot of different sets, which I'm going to show you 2 other examples after this from my viewers as well. But I just mix and match different pieces. As long as the substats are good, she wants pretty much every single stat you can think of. It depends if you want speed or not. It depends if you want effectiveness or not. And I'll touch note on effectiveness before at the end of this, at the end of my Seaside Bellona build. But she wants every stat, just depends if you need speed. But as you can see here, I think the only mandatory one would be immunity. So try to go for every stat. You remember, start with bulk and attack, because attack scales off the Reingars drink. And then when you can, try to make sure you get at least 85 crit and then crit damage, however much else you can get. But these 2 are very important, guys. I know a lot of people will try like a 5k, 6k attack Reingars drink build because you think this is where all your damage is going to come from. No, please still build. We've had a lot of time to test. It is still very much worth getting some crit chance and crit damage on your builds no matter what you end up doing. But yeah, if you end up doing a lot of Hell Raid, I have 3 Hell Raid pieces here. These are all from Hell Raid. Also the immunity boots that you can get in there. The immunity chest, this is one I rolled randomly, but you remember there's a free Hell Raid chest 88 in there too. So if you guys are starting your Hell Raid, which she's very good in there too, just use a PvE build like I mentioned earlier. You can pick up a lot of pieces that just work well for her, right? Because she needs every stat anyways. That's the best part I think about Seaside Bellona. You can start specializing, which I'm going to show you the other 2 builds, but in the meantime, this has been working for me for over almost 2 years now. I've actually downgraded some of her gear. She still works amazing. Just make sure she's tanky, okay? She'll do damage over time. And last but not least, let me talk about effectiveness. The reason I have some on, it's not necessarily because I like it, because the other 2 builds I'm going to show have 0. A lot of people go for 0 effectiveness nowadays. But one of her biggest, things that'll win you the match is, of course, landing that 50% defense break here. And I just had a lot of effectiveness on my gear anyway, so I didn't bother taking it off. Now, when Frenzy stacks up too, now that more people are running like Maid Chloe and things, you'll eventually be able to hit some of these Soul Weavers and tanks that have a lot of like 100+ effectiveness. So if you do have some effectiveness, especially if you combine it with her imprint, I think it's pretty good. Otherwise, go for 0 and swap off to health imprint. That's good as well. It's up to you guys. Now let's cover 2 different builds here. Let's start with the speed build, since I think a lot of y'all will be running. A lot of y'all told me in the last video, thank you again, that you're farming a ton of Wyvern, right? Well, lucky for you guys, since her builds are so versatile, you can run her on speed set as well. You don't have to go 0 speed, but try not to go too much speed unless you're doing a weird cleave style SSB, right? So this is from Charfade, and he actually likes this. He prefers this kind of build, and he runs her all the time. He plays tankier, but he still likes speed to make sure he can get his skill 3 off earlier. Otherwise, everyone else kind of goes 0 speed and mainly relies on her counter. He gets all his speed just from speed set. Not many speed subs, I think, on his gear, if anything, because I think that's mostly from the speed set bonus. And then look at his stats. It's pretty much like mine, right, guys? A lot of defense and health, a good amount of attack, 3k plus, and then he also goes for crit chance, crit damage. The only difference is the speed set, and also, of course, he drops all his effectiveness, okay? This is also a fine build, guys. I know a lot of y'all will try this out because you're running Wyvern. Now, let's look at the last build, which was submitted to me by Sedge, and big shout out to Sedge and Charfade. I think I want to try this build soon. Just like Spectre Tenebria, guys, people are trying out new builds on her, and the last one we've seen is Lifesteal. Now, the attack is a little bit lower than I want because we get, attack scales really well with this, but it's still good enough. The bulk is still there, a little bit light compared to me and Charfade's, but he actually went super ham on crit damage, so I would actually probably try and drop some crit damage. Maybe he wants that for the bonus Lifesteal healing, more burst healing. I'll have to ask him on that, but otherwise he also goes for 0 effectiveness and then actually 0 base speed, so no wasted stats at all, guys, on this build. This is probably something I want to transition to in the future. Let me know what you guys are going to try out. But overall, as you can see, there's a lot of different end game builds, a lot of different early game builds. Just when you venture into PvP, last thing is just make sure she has enough defense and health to survive. But decide if you want a little bit of speed, decide if you want to go 0 speed, decide if you want speed set, broken sets, or lifesteal sets. But there's a million builds that can work on her. As long as she lives, she'll win you the match. She's an amazing unit. Pick up the Reingars drink. I think it is so good. You have to get one, so save it those powder. And I think with that being said, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Good luck on your summons. And yeah, let me know how they go. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.